To the Old Man On Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. Like, live podcast in a row, but by live podcast, we actually mean like in person as opposed to Skype.
Yeah, live as in, our audience involves a dog and a fan.
Yeah, he's a good dog.
Literally one fan. We got one fan here.
Literally, it is a rotating fan from the ceiling, just to clarify.
But we're in one of our classic sitcom sets of the olden days. Of the early podcast days.
It is kind of weird, yeah.
Actually, even the movie days, our live action ones, they were seeing stuff that took place in this room.
Yeah, that is kind of, it sounds wrong when you put it that way. But no, it is kind of weird, almost kind of like, oh yeah, we're podcasting in the old room we used to podcast before I moved,
Yeah, like one of those podcasting rooms.
But yeah, it's getting all nostalgic. A Bruce Springsteen song starts playing in my head.
Goes down by the podcast.
I don't know why. I don't know why The River is the one that always comes to mind, because he has 1,000 sad songs, but The River is the ultimate kind of like, wasn't life better once? Basically, the song is just like, hey kids, wear a fucking condom. That's all the song really is, but
don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, because those will be the best days of your life until you forget to wear a condom. No, but I was actually. For Mother's Day and also my grandparents' birthday, I came back up the hill for a minute, and we...
For a minute I showed up, I fucking made my presence known, then left.
Say, hey, bye, done. No.
Done. See you in 365 more days.
I got a podcast to do. No, that's not actually what happened.
Shitty son.
Yeah. No, what happened was we actually came up. I came up for like a minute, and then we went up to Tahoe for 2 days. Now I'm back. We're trying to jam out a podcast.
Did you go to California Tahoe? Or I almost said Vegas Tahoe. Or Nevada Tahoe?
I think... I can't really tell where one starts, where one ends.
It's easy to tell. One has casinos and the other one doesn't.
Oh, we must have been in the... Well, I thought if it's an Indian casino, it's okay.
Oh, okay. If it's an Indian casino, that changes the factor. But, like, if it's a...
We're in South
old-fashioned Italian casino. If it's like fucking Godfather 2 casino.
We walked by one or two of those. It was... I think maybe in California Tahoe. It was South Tahoe. South Shore Tahoe. So
I think that's the Nevada side.
Might be Nevada side? Okay. Well, we went around the whole... One day we just drove around the whole thing, just checking out. I've been there before, but it's been some time. But
that's where I got that really sweet We Have Nintendo ginormous plastic poster thingy. I got it from Tahoe there, the video store that was going out of business.
Well, okay. Well, that's actually... we didn't really have... It's one of those things... It's really cool, and it is nice there, but I don't know, like... I mean, it's not, if you ski a lot... Then
I like the lake. I think it's really cool, but
I like the lake, but I mean, that lake is fucking cold.
Well, that lake's good about 1 month out of the year.
Yeah. Beyond that, so I mean, who knows? It may be a cool place to live. I don't know, but it was pretty cool. You're just riding by, checking everything out. But I will say, one thing we did, it was a very spur of the moment thing. We just grabbed one of those "What's Going On Over the Weekend" kind of magazines, and Chickenfoot, Sammy Hagar's newish band. Was on the front cover, like, oh my god, they're playing right down.
Joe Satriani in it as well. And
Joe Satriani.
And the Red Chili Peppers drummer.
Chad Smith.
Yeah.
I think Michael Anderson. And I think is the bass
player.
Oh,
yeah, the bass player from Van Halen.
Yeah. And I was just kind of looking at it.
He's not allowed Van Halen anymore for some reason. It's like, my boy grew to age. We don't need you anymore. That's what we were raising a child to replace you.
We were training him the ways of Van and Halen. No, but... They just brought him in, and I don't know what I said. They brought him in. What was I saying? Where's he going? I thought I had a joke for that, but no. Anyway, I forgot where the joke was going. But we just kind of were like, oh, what are we going to do? We just saw, oh, wait, they're playing on the weekend? Oh, fuck, they're playing tonight? Oh, and that's across the street? So it was literally one of those last minute things. My dad and I went. It was a fun time. They all rocked pretty hard.
Oh, I bet, because it's one of those groups. I'm actually kind of, when you said you were seeing them, I was like, oh fuck, they're still together. I thought that was like a one and done like album thing.
So did I, but apparently they just kind of it's like a super group that once in a while they'll get together and do something. And I guess they just put out a third album. Oh. Now I'm gonna say they rocked pretty hard. They put on a good show, but I was kind of like, I don't know this song, pop in my head, I even bought the album when it first came out, but it was one of those things like I listened to it and I thought it was good, but I just never really latched onto it, but it was still a good show, and they still rocked pretty hard.
Well, that's pretty. No matter what, though, that's like a really cool like mixture of it's like the sea. It's like you see Joe Satriani playing guitar, you see Sammy Hagar singing, you get to see fuck, I feel bad for not remembering the guy's bass player's name.
Michael Anderson, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I almost want to say Michael Van Halen, like that's not fucking. Like yeah, Michael, and then what's his name from Chad Smith.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to see a bunch of really sweet people, so that makes it a really cool thing, anyways. So no matter what.
I was like, okay, I get to see 1/4 of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then I get to see a little bit of like Van Halen.
Yeah, 1/2 of Van Halen.
Of the coming and going, rotating.
And then one of the best guitar players known to mankind.
Yeah, and it was kind of like people were yelling out like requests here and there. They pretty much they did only Chickenfoot songs as far as I can tell. But I want to say at one point, like, people were shouting requests. I was like, the song from the Super Mario Brothers movie, we're going to the title! I didn't yell that, but Joe Satriani would just be like, I forgot about that. Fuck.
Okay, well, let me see if I remember. It just starts playing.
Like, how's it go again?
Here, I'll sing it to you in your ear. You just up stand next to him to yell in his ear. I bet Sammy's like, just like, please, let's never take requests again. I don't want to hear some guy yelling in your ears trying to tell you about random ass songs.
I actually, because right when we found out they were playing, it was almost this weird moment where we were at this pizza place, and we were talking about, like, oh, Chickenfoot's playing. Yeah, we just started talking about Chickenfoot, like who's in it. And I felt kind of bad because I was like, I like them. I just never really got into them. I mean, I got the album, but I haven't listened to it that many times. But they're good. Whatever. And then like. Two guys like, oh, you guys are Chickenfoot fans? Oh, we're roadies. I'm just like, oh, fuck. For a split second though, they said, oh, you're Chickenfoot? Yeah, we're working with that whole thing. I was looking at the picture, like, okay, is that? Because I didn't know what Joe Satriani looked like. I didn't know what Michael Anderson looked like. I knew it wasn't Chad Smith or Sammy Hagar. So I was like, fuck. I'm just looking at the magazine, just back and forth, like, okay, it's not them. All right.
Joe Satriani kind of looks like Voldemort.
What?
He kind of looks like Voldemort.
He kind of does. Voldemort and Bono had a baby.
Yeah.
Because of the sunglasses.
He's got the sunglasses.
Actually, here's a fun thing. Joe Satriani, because he always has those weird sunglasses. He walked right by us, and we didn't even realize it was him. Because there's this long ass line into I think it was the Harris Casino. This long line going through, and just this tall, skinny dude. Well, she wasn't super tall, but like about maybe around my height, but really skinny. Mm-hmm. Bald guy just walking by, and if you weren't looking for him and he didn't have the sunglasses, you probably wouldn't think about it, but just tall, bald dude walking by, no sunglasses, and someone's like, hey, Joe! I was like, oh, hey, guys. Kind of like, fuck, they noticed me. Kept them walked a little faster. I'm like, Joe? Then we went in there, like, oh, fuck, that was Joe Satriani that walked by earlier.
He kind of looks like the human Silver Surfer.
Shit, that's a good point.
He looks like He looks like Voldemort, the human Silver Surfer.
Anybody who's bald.
Well, probably if he was walking around naked, he'd probably just look like the Silver Surfer.
Also looks kind of like Slender Man.
Also looks like Dead Man.
Doctor or Mr. Bloom.
Anybody who's white, slender, and bald and might have glasses on. No, that's still a pretty sweet show to see.
I will say, as cool as it was one of those things.
Probably would have been cool if you listened to album 2 and 3, but...
Yeah, it probably would have.
Or would have made the experience better.
Because I was like, oh, this is a good song. That's a good song, It was one of those things where we were in line. I don't want to be like all shitty and demeaning or anything, but while I was standing in line, I was like, holy fuck, I'm the youngest person here.
Every once in a while, I think you need that in life, though. You need that moment. You need that moment where somebody at the movie theater says, sir, can I see your ID? Mm-hmm. You need one of those. The older you get, those are really reassuring moments. You're like, when you're a kid, you're always like, fuck you, man. Fucking, here's my ID. Fuck 17. I can see a radar movie. Fuck you. And he's like, yeah, I just want to make sure.
I don't want to lose my fucking job.
Yeah. When you get older, you're like, could you please just tell me, sir, you're clearly... No. Don't say. Come on, man. Just give this to me. Just give this one thing to me.
You're actually going to see Ratchet and Clank, so we don't even need your ID for this?
I know, but, I'm here. Just tell me I've got a pack of smokes. Just tell me I can't get them. Tell me, it's just, sir, you're at a movie theater. You can't buy a pack of smokes here. It's like, plus, you're not even buying a pack of smokes. Like, what are you going to do with it? It's like,
I had dreams once.
I did. How about you shave that fucking beard, maybe, and then take away that cane and glasses, and you might not look so goddamn old. Yeah, I just want to fit in with the older community, too. I mean, I like to get my senior discount as well. No, it's just that weird thing though. You're looking for that in life. You really want someone to tell you to have that ID. So you being at that concert, being the oldest or being the youngest person, that's almost a good thing.
It is. There was like a few people. I would say this. I'm not trying to sound like demeaning or shitty towards the people there, but it was one of those things when you were there. There was mostly older people, and then there'd be like, I'm used to go to a concert and seeing a bunch of young people, but I was like, as the concert went on, a few more young people showed up, but it wasn't like, oh, they're everywhere. It's like, oh, there's one, you know, that it's dark, maybe, you know, so
yeah.
But no, they put on a good show. It kind of makes you want to go on Spotify and check out their second and third album and re-listen to the first one. I know that the one song I was like, I remember that one is they did, oh, yeah! That's like the big like single off the first one. That's the one I remember. But then like, it's mostly, you know, your standard kind of like Van Halen-ish. I mean, keep in mind, I like Van Halen, but they're not my favorite band, so I can't really tell you the difference between this album or that album. Mm-hmm. But I like Van Halen. And so it was kind of like that 80s Van Halen-ish hard rock kind of stuff, which you don't hear.
The Sammy Hagar stuff.
Yeah, which you don't hear so much anymore. So, you know, they put on a good show.
No, because they've kind of gone back to like the David Lee Roth stuff. They pretty much did the thing like movies do nowadays, where they're like, you know what? You know what's the thing that people always seem to really like? David Lee Roth Van Halen. That's the one. Let's just kind of like avoid like pretty much our prequels, which is really just later day. Because that's always how it is. And I just remember being like a kid, and I think some older person told us once, they're like, you know what it is? When you're a kid, the David Lee Roth stuff, that's your favorite thing. You really dig that stuff. But as you get older, you start to really dive into the Sammy Hagar Van Halen. Mm-hmm. It relates more to you. Almost like when somebody tells you about the Beatles, the White Album, they're always like, the kids seem, like when you're younger, you enjoy the first disc, because it's got a little bit more hard rock songs on it, or as far as that can go in the 60s. You know, that, as you get older, it's sort of the things on the second disc that start to appeal to you.
That one, O'Daly, O'Dilla, Life Goes On. That's up in the second disc, isn't it?
I thought that was on the first, but I could
maybe it is. I like probably my favorite era of Beatles is probably the mid range of Beatles, right, where they were like not full on like Acid is awesome, but like they're just kind of just they're starting
like the Revolver,
the Rubber Soul is my favorite Beatles album.
Yeah, those are like my two favorite ones.
I think Hey Jude is in the middle as well, isn't it?
No, that's one of the last ones.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I just fucked myself there. But that was a good. Hey Jude's a good one. But my two favorites are probably like Rubber Soul, Revolver, and then maybe like White Album is probably that's somewhere in there, right, in the mid range.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I still probably consider that later day stuff.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm
really on my musical shit today. Aren't I?
That's what Mr. I go see.
I
go see Chickenfoot.
I go see Chickenfoot. I don't really listen to a lot of Van Halen. Like, okay, well, that was good. What about that's later stuff too. Okay, you know.
Strange enough, it sounds weird, but when I animate, like I like a lot more like softer like 60s 70s music. It sounds so weird. I could be animating something with like violence and death and gore in it or something like that, and it's like, put some Jim Croce on, you know, put some John Denver, or like, you know, throw some Beatles on. I really dig like all the Beatles, like the Beatles anthology albums where they have all like the weird takes. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I almost enjoy those more than the real songs.
Well, it's kind of like when you listen to something like some of the Buffalo Springfield Ultimate Takes to be playing, and all of a sudden you hear like the wrong chord. They stop for a second. You're like,
oh fuck.
You're like, I think it's like Bruce Palmer. Like, fuck. All right, one more time. You know, just like the outtake stuff. So
the outtakes is almost better.
When that just pops up like on shuffle on your iPod or something,
it's always great. Well, I think it's one of those things too. You have to write like the good song first to really appreciate those like secondary versions. You couldn't start off with that version.
Like there's the Maxwell Silver Hammer.
That's like the best one. Like Paul McCartney does the solo, but he does it on Hillbilly Life.
He goes like
like that to me puts the biggest smile on my face. I could be having the worst day ever. You throw that song on, and everything's good from that point on. Doesn't matter.
You know, like John was like kind of like, Paul, I don't know about that. George is probably just like, I don't fucking care. Ringo's like, hey, whatever you want to do, man.
Can all get opinion?
I think it was Ringo. Like everybody likes Ringo, but like nobody wants to tell him no to Ringo. So like, guess what, Ringo? 2 songs per album. Good for you. You know, thumbs up. Wasn't George like maybe 3 songs an album? Or
well, George wasn't really. That's why like
he held on to most.
Yeah,
of his
he held on to all his shit and then released a sweet ass like fucking double LP the second the Beatles broke up. Like, oh yeah, by the way, all those songs you didn't let me record, bam, fucking check that shit.
I think that's the thing. I think that's why George is my favorite Beatle. Like I'm no Beatle historian like you or Cisco, but I think George is my favorite just because he was one of those ones that was just like, well, John and Paul were always fighting. George just sat there with his arms crossed. Soon.
You know? Well, you can almost say that, I mean, they all had some good stuff afterwards, but I probably would say George has, like, the best stuff, almost like post-Beatles.
John has some good stuff,
well,
but John was a little
Paul
too...
Has good, I mean, they all have good stuff. Ringo has good songs, too, even.
I wouldn't call Snickerdo a good one, but...
It's a little weird, but...
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice, catchy riff, but Snickerdo... What the fuck's a Snickerdo? I don't know. But it was just like, it was Ringo, so it's like, it's kind of like you can't hate Ringo, you know?
No, yeah, he's just like that, he's just that happy-go-lucky, lovable guy.
Here we're saying that as if like, oh, Ringo, but if we actually met him, like, it's fucking Ringo Starr.
Yeah. You know? Bro, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid. Hey, what's up that fucking Snickerdo stuff?
What is a Snickerdo? It's like, oh, I don't know, man, it's just
words, bro.
Just came to me one day when I was sitting in my hotel room.
When I was driving my live action, fucking real life yellow submarine that you don't have.
Yeah. It's like, it's all cell shaded when you see in real life. Like, how'd you do it? I'm fucking rich.
I'm richer than you can fucking imagine.
No, but like, it kind of makes me want to listen to some Beatles now. But I find myself, when I work on creative stuff, I actually listen to, it's not so much designated by soft 60s stuff, it's more designated by, like, more chill stuff. So
yeah, well, I'd say, chill stuff. And because I would say, here's some modern stuff that I'd listen to that would remind me more on that chill. Like, I'd listen to, like, something like Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Or Cage the Elephant. Like, something like that.
They
it's
got a
weird.
new album.
I know that. I meant to send you to that when I saw that. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
I'm
like, he probably knows.
I found out late.
So did I. I'm like, fucking Spotify didn't remind me like they're supposed to.
Chili Peppers have a new one coming out soon. I'm assuming just because they have a new single that came out. But they did have a, what was I saying about, like some of the softer stuff I usually listen to, like Deer Tick, or like, mid-range Beatles, or maybe like Creedence Clearwater, or something like The Byrds, like a mix kind of like that.
I don't know why. There's something about, I think, if you were listening to like heavy metal, like while animating, I just don't feel like it goes like hand in hand very well. It sounds weird because I can't even think of myself really too often listening to. I can listen to like rock and roll maybe, but full on like metal or something like that, that's better for like driving or working out or something like that. I don't know if it. I guess because animations, even though it doesn't, you could be drawing like something super violent or you could be drawing like crazy stuff, but
I'll be honest, I'm not gonna. I haven't really listened to like very hard rock or heavy metal in a while. There's a time probably in like late high school, early college where I did listen to a lot of metal.
There's a band you gotta check out. I think you might enjoy it. It's called Baby Metal.
Oh, is that the Japanese band?
Yeah, so they just got a new album that just came out.
I saw like they were on Stephen Colbert, and
they're just so much fun.
It's
like an anime theme song, but metal, like all their ass songs.
Stephen Colbert came out and he just walked out. It's just like, there's a band called Baby Metal. They're from Japan. I don't know what's gonna happen, so let's just start it. That was his introduction, and it was just like these girls, like in like these Japanese girls in maid outfits, going like chocolate. Like Chubb was like, what the fuck is going on? Anybody who just kind of like saying like, you know what? I mean, I watch it because I used to watch Letterman and nothing else is on right now, so I'm gonna see how this Colbert boy does. And then they just see he's like chocolate. Like, these little Japanese girls jumping on stage with like these people like in fucking makeup, like thrashing behind them, like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Have a fucking seizure right there.
That's where the last of like the World War II vets like die off. But no, that band right there, that's like one of my new favorite. Well, I've been listening to them for a while by now, I guess, but
I gotta give them a shot.
They're like one of my favorites. I just blast them and it just makes me feel happy. But it's a little bit different, I guess. It's not like your standard like death metal or something like that. I wouldn't say it's death metal. It's more just regular metal.
I never really listened to death metal that much. I just just like hard rock kind of metal and like so like I can't remember the last time I listened to like something like Iron Maiden, or even though a lot of people, I know you love this band, but I know a lot of people are talking shit on them now, like Avenged Sevenfold. I can't remember the last time I listened to them.
I don't know what that last fucking album's so good. So good.
I think it's one of those things that I even kind of like, I outgrew it. Like, 'cause I even got that album, was it the Hell the King one, where it's all black? Yeah. I even bought that album, and I was like...
It came out the same day Man of Steel did.
Yeah,
I remember it being a good, like, spending day.
I bought that album, and I, like, enjoyed it, but it's not something I put on and listen to over and over again. And I remember when like, City of Evil came out, I was like, this album's fucking awesome! And same
because we were driving around fucking scouting locations to shoot.
I think maybe because there's a bunch of nostalgia linked to it, I'm sorry, folks. It's going to happen. Anytime we're doing a podcast in person, we're just going to get all nostalgic because I'm in town. Like, oh, I remember this, I remember that.
Remember when we were out shooting video, listening to Avenged Sevenfold?
Oh, I remember that, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, we shot a scene where someone was shooting up under a bridge over there.
Yeah, and then we blasted City of Evil fucking driving across the bridge.
Yeah. But no, talking about how excited we were for Dark Knight. No, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes, yes, I gotta put certain things in perspective. Like, Dark Knight doesn't seem like that old of a movie, but then I have to think... I had a MySpace page with Joker from Dark Knight on it. So that sometimes I have to put things in perspective. Oh, that's right.
Well, it's like I always use Dark Knight Rises. That's always our example of how long we've been around for. Everything's based off Dark Knight Rises.
I'm not even just going off the podcast. Just remember how long something came out. But Dark Knight Rises, oh shit, yeah, that was our first one.
That's the first episode. That's where it all traces to.
This first day we recorded, it didn't get uploaded until like a week later, or 2 weeks later, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we're pretty quick on it. I don't think
Pretty
we're that
quick,
far
yeah.
off, but still. But speaking of something that's not Dark Knight, but very similar, we went and saw the Captain America. And I know we're a little bit late on the game as far as everybody else probably is, because generally mostly we talk about it afterwards, and I know now it's almost like almost a week later. Probably by the time it gets up, it'll be literally a week later. Mm-hmm. And as much as I hate to admit it, just being a super Batman fan, it technically is the better movie out of the two Versus movies.
Oh,
Shut
it
the
is.
fuck up. Fuck
Snake!
Snake!
You talking about Captain America?
Yeah, like, don't you know you're in terms with Warner Brothers? Yeah, they fucking got pissy at us because we threw a goddamn trailer on our Book of Eli podcast.
Did they?
Yeah, I got a thing that said, like, they're like, yo, there wasn't like one of those ones like, we're taking this shit down, but they're like, yo, Warner Brothers is going to take any fucking money you make off YouTube. And I'm like, good, because I don't make any money off YouTube.
The whole channel or just that?
Just that video.
Just that
They
video.
do that on some of the other ones, too. Mm-hmm. Like, on our that's why, like, you'll see ads on some of the older stuff we had, like the Drunk Batman live action stuff.
Because we use some Warner
Brothers. Yeah, you'll see, like,
music.
Elvis song will play, but, like, buy Elvis Presley's album.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't really fucking care on that stuff. But still, it's the one I was like, hey, what the fuck, Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
I just love how everybody else can seem to do it and have no problem. The second that we do something like, let's just throw a trailer on there, they fucking jump the gun on it. I think at Warner Brothers, we must just be on a blacklist.
Even though we talk about how much we love their shit.
Literally probably the most positive, DC, well, I'd say Warner Brothers fan. Fuck, we're talking Clint Eastwood.
Wild Bunch.
We're talking Eli, Book of Eli, Wild Bunch. Like, we talk a lot of great Warner Brothers stuff, but for some reason, they want to put us under their thumb.
Yeah. We're like the abused housewife. We just keep going back. No, he just gets this way when he drinks. He's really a good person. You're not there when it's just me and him. It's kind of like that with Warner Brothers.
So here's the thing. Speaking of not Warner Brothers, and speaking of another company, Marvel, because we're going to talk some...
It's owned by a mouse in hot pants.
Yes, exactly. But I will say that Captain America 3 is close to being about the best Avengers movie there is. You know, I'm not going to say like totally number one, but I would say like top 3. Like, I think I like it just as much as like, you know, if you want to count Guardians of the Galaxy, like up there with that one, it might even be better than Captain America 2. It might take a couple of extra viewings, but like still with that one and maybe Avengers 2.
I don't know where it stands exactly. I know it's definitely within my top 4 favorite Marvel studio movies. But I know that I need to see it again.
Yeah.
I remember going in like knowing I was going to like it, but then kind of being a little shocked and surprised at some things and liking it a lot more. Because it was one of those things... For something we kind of criticized Marvel for a while was too much comedy in their movies. And 2 things kind of happened. One was I think they lightly toned down on the comedy and used the comedy more when necessary. B, myself personally, I just come to accept it. Mm-hmm. So I think those 2 things could together. So when something funny did happen, it didn't really kill the momentum or the pacing for me. And I think they finally, ever since I'm going to say... Avengers 2, I think they really found... I mean, I don't want to... Because I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he does a great job. And I understand what they're trying to do with him. Because, I'll be honest, I think Iron Man, for a while, in some ways, he was kind of a boring character. It wasn't... They're really kind of going off with Ultimate's Iron Man, which he was a little bit more funny and he was a little more flawed. And I think that's what they're going with. Mm-hmm. So, because in the 90s, at one point, Iron Man was about to get canceled. So, I kind of understand what they're doing with Iron Man. That being said, I think Iron Man 2, she was trying too hard to be funny. He was kind of a little obnoxious. Iron Man 3, a little bit, not as much, but a little bit. And then by the time you got to like Iron Man, by the time he gets like Avengers 2, I think he worked totally fine. And by this one, I think this is the best version of Iron Man I've seen, because he actually did have real conflict, and he actually was like, it was one of the first times I actually see him really play it dramatically.
Yeah, I agree, because Iron Man, strange enough, in the Avengers, as far as the movies go, has always been my least favorite character in the whole... Well, I'll take it back. Black Widow being my least favorite character. Iron Man kind of being my second. But out of the main Avengers, he's just always kind of been, to me, like... I don't know, it's funny, because everybody seems to be fucking ecstatic about Robert Downey Jr. Like, he's the best thing ever! Blah, blah, blah. And I love telling people, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care for him very much as that. I love Robert Downey Jr., but I just think that the Iron Man character was just a little bit too much on the funny side. It was like the first Avengers was kind of notorious about almost having a joke every other line. Like, it's kind of bad for that. Where I feel by the second Avengers, that's when they got really balanced out. Because that second Avengers, to me, I think is pretty close to a really good movie, too. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, maybe you can complain about a couple things here and there, but I think overall, it's totally sweet.
Because Avengers 2... I cut you off, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just going to... You can go with that one, because I was just going to lead into where we're going next.
Avengers 2, I think. A lot of people talk shit on that movie, saying it's too jam-packed. I never got bored in that movie. I thought it was fun the whole way through, and people say... It's just advertising for things to come. To me, it never felt like it was advertising for things to come. I mean, yeah, we know it's going to get there, but in my opinion, it's just kind of like, okay, there's an arms dealer. We got to go shake down some arms dealer. Might as well be a villain from the comics. Maybe it's not from the Avengers. Maybe it's from Black Panther. Might as well be a character that you could use that could come back possibly, rather than just some miscellaneous, you know, just like villain B. You know what I mean? Just some got place filler. That's the thing. People remember Ulysses Claw in that movie. I think that's cool. For a minute, I didn't realize that's who it was. Then as it came back, oh fuck, that's Ulysses Claw, the arm thing. And other things I could see how maybe some people are kind of thrown off. Like, okay, Vision got thrown in there pretty quickly, but I was just glad to see Vision.
Oh yeah, I was more excited to see Vision in there at all, because I was the thing I asked for day one, like, when are they gonna put Vision in there? Mm-hmm. He's literally. He is pre-Captain America, he is pre-Spider-Man, he is pre-everybody else. Like, that is the original Marvel superhero. Where is Vision?
Yeah, and I actually, so I'm one of the few people that thinks Avengers 2 is a near perfect superhero movie.
I think so, too. Like, I like that one a lot. But this Captain America 3, what I like about it, it's like, in a sense, like, all like what you might think by watching the trailer, because I remember kind of watching and going, wow, it's called Captain America, but it just looks like Avengers 3. And at least the nice thing about it is it still is a Captain America movie, actually, for the most part.
Because it's still a lot of espionage.
Yeah, it still has a lot of the same elements, and it focuses on, Cap and Bucky kind of doing their thing. And that's what I like. It's almost like it comes from the perspective of him. So technically, Iron Man's sort of the bad guy of the movie. I know you can kind of look at it both ways, but I guess for me, it's just like, there he is, fucking beat his head off. It's now's your chance, Cap. Finish him.
Even though that he is sort of the bad guy of this movie, it was actually one of the movies where I didn't mind him at all.
No, well, that's the thing. It actually worked really well.
And I want to say maybe it was Joss Whedon that said this, but I mean, it's kind of changed over the years, of course. But I think Joss Whedon said this possibly on the Avengers 2 audio commentary, and he said something to the lines of something around the ballpark of Tony Stark is essentially a villain just in the superhero role, and not as an anti-hero, but basically he has his whole upbringing, multi-billion dollar company, keeps
building
on
weapons at first,
has every intention to do the good thing, but turns out bad. That's kind of like that's the story of a lot of villains. He essentially is a villain just trying to do the good thing, and that's what I think that's what Joss, if I remember correctly. Someone said that. I think it was Joss Whedon. And I think that's a pretty interesting way of looking at it.
Well, he's technically almost like Lex Luthor of the Marvel. It's almost Lex Luthor if Lex Luthor wasn't bad.
Yeah, exactly. He's basically, it seems like, at least in the Marvel universe, in the Marvel movie universe, because I never read an Iron Man book. He just tends to pop up in other books I read. Mm-hmm. And whenever it's there, though, he seems to kind of pop up, try to do the right thing, fucks it up, and then they have to clean up his mess. And he's kicking himself about it, but he just almost kind of shrugs it off and says a funny joke,
Yeah, exactly. But, it's like in this one, what I like too is because I always get scared watching all these movies because you always get fear for who's going to die. And I'm always afraid it's going to be Hawkeye because for some reason, other than me and you, people seem to hate Hawkeye. I don't know why that is.
He's a fucking badass in this movie.
And I'm so glad he's in it and he's got a bunch of scenes and whatnot. And the thing that's cool about this one is everybody kind of gets like their sort of little moment to shine, but it still never takes away from it being a Captain America movie.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the neat thing about it. And... it's always this movie I think is always going to be kind of compared to Batman versus Superman just because they came out at the same time. They're both versus movies and everything like that. Where this one, I think, why it works so perfect is because you built it up over 10 movies or so, if not a little bit more than that even, that you really got to know all these characters so well that you can see how these dynamics will come together to clash once somebody says, yo, you guys got to be fucking organized and work for us and not do your own thing.
Plus, it did a good utilization of other characters. For instance, I didn't think they were bringing back anybody from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie. Mm-hmm. And they brought back John Hurt. I was really surprised about that. I thought they were just kind of like, yeah, that happened, and it happened, but we're not going to really look back. And I just think, oh, fuck, that's John Hurt again. What's he? Oh, shit, he's still playing Thunderbolt Ross. I wasn't expecting him to at some point, because I know part of me in my mind thought it. But then I was like... they're not going to do it because you cannot pay John Hurt enough to go, ooh, I'm getting mad, and then like Hulk out and turn into Red Hulk. You can't pay him enough to do that. Yeah. But part of me was slightly hoping, and then I don't know how much you could pay John Hurt to wake up in like tattered clothes, gonna like late, because that's going to happen eventually. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
unless they just change it, make Red Hulk someone else. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know, but they could do.
I want fucking Red Hulk.
But that'd be pretty badass if they did do that. But even like all the people that like they throw Ant-Man back in there and he has some marvelous scenes in there, and then even Spider-Man himself who looked kind of weird in the trailer, I think actually worked really well. I had no complaints to it.
Well, the thing about Spider-Man in the trailer is it was just such a quick little like, hi everyone.
And they even took that line out. That's what I liked about it. They didn't even use the stupid line. They fixed that. And
it was kind of like Iron Man that was... Iron Man, Spider-Man who was kind of gushing, kind of like, oh God, I'm fighting one of all these guys. He's like more excited just to be there than he actually is to fight people.
He's like the ultimate fanboy.
He's kind of like, look, I like Captain America, but I'm kind of at a job audition right now, so, and it's just... He almost is kind of like speaking for the audience in some aspect, I think.
I think so. Well, I mean, that's technically who Spider-Man's supposed to be, and I think they really got that across on there. So it's like, all these things in this movie is like, there's nothing to complain about at all. I mean, like, I will say, these guys see it a second time, but I bet you this could be, like, literally the perfect formula that they finally got.
We should say this. I mean, Ken's already listened to the podcast enough, this happens, but I don't think we spoiled anything yet, so just spoilers ahead. I think the big thing that happened, I was kind of wondering if they were going to bring this up, because in Iron Man 2, and this is cool, they were playing this from the get-go, or at least since Iron Man 2, at least. When they actually look into the Winter Soldier, and he says something that they're kind of going down who the Winter Soldier is and how Hydra got there, and you see you just see it's a quick file that goes by on the screen, and it's just like Howard Stark murdered or something like that, or made it look like an accident.
Yeah,
you saw something like that. I don't know if it was Winter Soldier if they said that happened, but they just showed that for a quick second. Like, okay, so Hydra's involved with that. That's kind of I wonder if that's going to come into play at all later. In this movie, it's just like, I was kind of wondering, because they just show like him just killing these random people at the beginning of the movie. They don't even see the people, just this car. Then he takes what looks like super soldier serum. I'm like, okay, so that's all it was. He was just getting the super soldier serum. Mm-hmm. Then you find out by the end of the movie,
it all comes back around,
that the people in the car were like Howard Stark and Robert and like his wife, Mama Stark, yeah, and then
Mama Stark.
Ma Stark, yeah. And then, like, it's actually, that part's actually, because, like, the part that's actually kind of in some ways hard to watch, you see Howard stumbling out of the car after the car crash, and then what's he do? He just grabs him. It's actually pretty brutal for me. Because you see this whole, like, action scene in the middle of the movie, which is really fun. Spider-Man, like, I'm not trying to complain about, it's a switch in tone, like I've heard some people say. But, Spider-Man swinging around, Ant-Man saying funny lines. It's just a total fun movie. Mm-hmm. But then you get to this part. He grabs Howard Stark by the collar with his robot arm, just starts bashing him in the fucking face, rapidly.
While Ma Stark watches.
Then he just drags him, puts his limp body seat, presses it against the car, slowly walks around, and strangles her to death.
Yeah.
And then Tony sees that with, like, Bucky there and Cap. And this is like one of those parts, like, because I will say, as much as I did, even though I did like Captain America, even though I did like Batman versus Superman, it did seem a little bit kind of like, I think they could have got there in a better way than how they did.
Yeah.
But the whole fighting aspect, I have no problem with them fighting. I just think you could have got there better, and that's one of my complaints about the movie. But this right there, you kind of see how everybody's kind of landing on on their position in this movie. And when Tony looks at Cap, he says, "Did you know this?" Then he says like, "I didn't know it was him." And then he just fucking like bitch slaps him with his shield, not the shield, with his glove, and then he just like the helmet comes down like, oh fuck, that's like one of those scenes I totally get, because that's just like blind rage. It's not kind of like, well, we got to do this because it's the Registration Act. It's just like, no, just fucking blind rage by this point.
Well, I think that's what makes this one so good, is like the reason why these guys are fighting is so legitimate in it that you just almost want to see it happen too. You just put fucking one. It's like at first when Iron Man's kind of walking around like, you guys got to be all registered, you got to do this, and Cap's just pretty much being all American, and being like, no, we got to go fucking Batman on this. He's like, I don't want to take away my freedom. And then it's just like, so at first you're just like, yeah, fuck that Tony Stark, that little bitch who's just like bending over, like just like taking it.
I wasn't even kind of like, oh, fuck Tony Stark in that, because I kind of understand. Part of me is like, in his position, I sort of understand where he's coming from, because he's somebody who was kind of like, fuck y'all, I do what I want. But whenever he does something, it's like, okay, he creates a reactor that creates a hole in space-time continuum, so it allows aliens to come through. Mm-hmm. Then he creates Ultron.
Yeah.
And then
they even have a scene in there too where this like black lady's like, yo, Tony, you killed my boy. You killed my boy in that townhouse or whatever it was.
That townhouse.
And he's just like, he was learning. He was on an educational field trip or something like that. And then it's like, that kind of makes Tony go, yo, we gotta stop doing this. There's a boy that died. I can't take it, you know what I mean? Like,
that scene was effective, though. I will say. I mean,
it kind of was. And I think like it feels sort of like a reaction to sort of like Man of Steel, I guess you could say. Because it's almost like they sort of took that thing where you can almost say, it almost makes it feel like it's reaction to like Batman v Superman, but we know that's probably not possible for the fact that movies are made at the same time. But it does feel like a reaction just to like all the destruction there. They're like, okay, well, we'll make it actually have some casualties, and what happens if you're going to knock down some buildings.
Well, one of the first things they do, and I think almost Avengers Age of Ultron was almost a reaction to Man of Steel. At least part of it was, because one of the first things they say when they get to Sokovia, evacuate the city.
Yeah, and secure it.
But in all honesty, in something that big, you saw they were still trying to evacuate people off there, and you even saw a couple civilians die in the process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like one of those things, I'm not trying to be like, suck it up, bitch, but it's like, it's going to happen. So, it's like, I kind of see where Tony's coming from, even though I'm totally Team Cap, but...
Yeah.
God, it sounds like fucking... Like, remember like back like... When, I mean, we didn't watch the fucking movies. Remember back when Twilight's like, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Yeah,
just like that. It's like... Team Cap, team whatever. It's way cooler that way. But yeah, I'm totally on like Team Captain America as far as that goes. But I think that's one of those things where it's because the comic, what happened was it was just strictly like a big battle happened and then it blew up part of a town or blew up a school or something. So that's where the government finally said, okay, if you're a mutant, you got to sign up. If you're a superhero, you got to sign up, and you only go on government designated missions. And that split them down the middle. And it made a lot of heroes that would never really do something like that do it just for the sake of tension and drama. Mm-hmm. Where this one, it's more of like, oh no, it's strictly the Avengers. The Avengers could only go designated areas okayed by the UN.
And it just makes so much sense in there. It's like there's no like second guessing any of this stuff on how it works. And even the way that the teams are all set up, they're all very logical. You look at it and you go like, because Vision, even though I like Vision a lot, it would make sense that he would go with Tony. Like that would seem like a logical option for him, because he's not gonna like question that stuff as much. He's not gonna know that freedom as well as everybody else is. And then everybody joins Cap's team, where it's like, okay, he's got Hawkeye, he's got Ant-Man, he's got Bucky, he's got Falcon, which Falcon gets like so much good scenes in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like that's the one thing too. It's like Falcon really gets to shine in this movie a lot.
One who else did an awesome job? Fucking Black Panther. Black Panther was so
badass. Black Panther, and it makes sense. And the way that he's on Tony Stark's team is it makes sense. You know what's another thing too? I'm so glad they call him Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Because I was kind of afraid that they were just going to call him the Panther or something dumb like that.
Or just like, by his first name or whatever.
Yeah, well, we can't use the title Black in it. Which is, things like that always are so dumb. It's kind of like when they get iffy about Black Lightning and all those things like that. It's like, Black Lightning just sounds badass. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with because he's black, that's why they're calling him Black, And I think with Black Panther, it's like, the Panther's not going to call the Black Panther. Like, what are you going to call him? Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to call him White Panther. That's not going to make any sense.
There is a White Panther.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, for
there's
Black
a White
Panther.
Tiger. I think there's White Tiger.
Yeah, White Tiger or something. But
yeah.
Still, so it's like, that was really cool. And even I like, kind of like, I'm like, oh, good, you know, not Scarlet Witch, but, Black Widow is like good. I'm like she's not a Captain America team because you would have thought she would have went with Captain America, but I like us like yeah, you go over there to the fucking Tony Stark.
You just really hate Black Widow.
It's nothing really against Black Widow. I think Black Widow's actually a really cool character. It's just I think it's Scarlett Johansson. And I will say in this movie, once again, she's gotten much better as these movies have gone. This is probably her best performance as far as she's not like obnoxious in this one. She doesn't have like too much bad acting or anything like that. I mean. No matter what, somebody else could do the Black Widow so much better than she can, but they kind of accepted it by this point.
She doesn't bother me. I don't really...
That's what I mean. She doesn't really bother... I just kind of know she's there.
I just never had any problem with Scarlett Johansson, but she's never really sold a movie to me, but she's never really scared me away from seeing a movie.
Yeah, it's like if they do
that Ghost in the Shell thing, I mean, it's not even it's Scarlett Johansson, just like, just casting a white chick as a Japanese chick, which they say, we gotta get a big... star to help sell that movie. My thing is, it's like, I think there's other ways to do it probably, but I guess it's just like, even if you were going to do that, I will get back on Captain in a second, but I think if you were going to do that, it's like, okay, at least just say it's the Americanized version. You don't got to call her Makoto Kusanagi.
Yeah,
you can just call her
weird.
Michelle Kendrick or something like that,
Exactly. Well, it's kind of like, if they do like a Black Widow solo movie, that'd be probably the one time I'd be like, I don't think I'll go see that one. It's just like, I would probably skip, that wouldn't interest me,
I'll be honest, I mean, a lot of people are
unless they did something weird with like Hawkeye, was like, oh, is he the second runner in that movie? Then I'd probably be like, well, you sold me at Hawkeye.
I think you'd probably do the Hawkeye Black Widow movie, like a team-up kind of thing, but... I mean, I'll be honest, if they did a Black Widow movie, I'd probably see it, but I'm not saying to be a dick. I think there should be more female superhero movies.
Yeah.
But Black Widow just doesn't interest me enough to have her own movie. I mean, if they made it, I'd see it. But it just seriously does not interest me enough because she's not my favorite character. Now, Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel
or Scarlet Witch movie, like I would say, because I really like that chick that plays Scarlet Witch in there.
Elizabeth Olsen, yeah.
Yeah. She does a great job. Like, I would see, like, like, if you did a Vision, and if you just almost did, like, the oddball characters, I don't know how to describe it, like, literally just throw the team of all, like, the characters that probably can't get their own solo movie, but could get a combo
like
movie.
the Marvel equivalent to Legends of Tomorrow.
Exactly. If you did one that was, like, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Hawkeye, and probably even Black Widow, even though it's, like... for me, the Black Widow thing, it's not necessarily Black Widow, the character, it's more just, like...
The actress.
Yeah, if Scarlett Johansson is, like, the star of a movie, I'm like, that's just too hard to take that much of her in one movie.
No, I get you.
I could take it. It's like, and I will say that because people always complain about Hawkeye that he's the lame character. Like he's just up there shooting bows with like fucking like special gadgets.
I don't know shit about Hawkeye.
It's like, well, one, you don't know shit about. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I just kind of go, yeah, but who's even lamer by that standard is Black Widow because really, as far as like as a superhero goes, like she's a spy. She has no power. She's a spy. It's like she shoots guns. She doesn't even have like see at least the Hawkeye. It's like he doesn't have superpowers. But he's got cool gadgets. He's like Batman of like the Marvel universe when you really break it down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really is the Batman character of that. So
I think Green Arrow is probably a better one.
For Marvel, Green Arrow's DC.
No, I'm saying the Hawkeye is like the Marvel. I'm saying like I think Hawkeye like Green Arrow is more the Hawkeye equivalent.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about Green Arrow's not like a big character as much as like Batman is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so that's kind of like where he's at. I mean, because technically Green Arrow's like a Batman-ish character.
That's a good point. Yeah,
even though I love Green Arrow, don't get me wrong, one of my favorite. That's probably why I like Hawkeye and Green Arrow. It's like two of my favorite characters.
You just like bows and arrows.
There's something about it. It just always works for me. Anything that's got like a Robin Hood feel to it.
I think what really made me like him, I always thought Hawkeye was cool, but really what made me really love Hawkeye was the Matt Fraction comics. And even though I always liked him, always thought he was a cool character, always liked his outfit, I mainly kind of knew him just from like popping in the comics here and there, and he's in New Avengers for a little while, but...
He's kind of like Green Arrow, where he actually doesn't have a whole lot of comics, strangely enough. Like, if you look at he does that thing where like, he has like, here's a 6-issue series, and then there's like 10 years, then he gets another 6-issue series or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not Matt Fraction's not writing it no more, but that series is going pretty strong right now.
Yeah, that one's still continuing up, but...
That one's good, but Jeremy Renner does an awesome job as Hawkeye. I will say
I love Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy Renner, he's just great too. Maybe there's also that Modesto thing in there, so you feel like he's practically like your next door neighbor.
There is that. There could be that, but I will say there is that part that was kind of funny when like I think it's pretty accurate. Once they go into the raft where they're keeping all the Team Cap's members, and like as Tony Stark walks by all of them, they all got a thing to say like, "Hey man, fuck you, you sold us out, whatever." And then he gets to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man's all like, "It's like Pym said, you can't trust a Stark." It's like, I'm sorry, who are you? You know,
it's really they never met yet.
Yeah, so and it's one of those things. It's kind of like I'm Ant-Man, you know, because Ant-Man's not by this point. I mean, at one point they're probably in the same ballpark, but now Ant-Man is like still not as big as Iron Man, but like Iron Man's, you know, it's kind of like he has had a big jump in the last few years. So I just thought it was a funny comparison, like this A character talking down to the C character. Like, I'm sorry, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think it's just, I think all the characters too, because you know, like I said, like the Falcon had a bunch of cool stuff. And I like how like he had all these gadgets going on. They really like developed like, you know, his wings up so they're like a shield too.
That was
he had
cool,
a little drone thing. And then even with Hawkeye, he started using all kinds of gadget arrows and all that stuff. Like, just everything about that was so cool. And then even Ant-Man himself, at one point he goes fucking large.
Turns Giant Man, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's so cool. Like all these things in there, and I think it works so well because of just how it's built up. It's almost like where you can say, like, if you have 12 movies, I don't even know how many there is, I'm just guessing. I think it's like something like that, 12, 13. You know, you have all these movies to build up on. You could actually even say longer if you want to, like, go back with, like, previous stuff. That it all adds up to, like, why it makes this movie so special. Why it makes this such a fun experience. Like, I think if this movie would have just came as, like, you know, let's just say this movie would have came after, like, the only movies they did was Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and that was, like, as far as they got, and then this movie came, it probably would not seem nearly as special as by having all these other ones prior, just to finally add up to this big conflict of that you don't even have to technically even have a real supervillain, because like the guy who's in it is much different than like the regular comic one, but he works so perfectly because it's just a guy who's hell bent on like saying like, hey, you know what? I know how I can get rid of these superhero guys if they just fight each other, you know, and it works so well that he kind of orchestrates this thing, and that's almost perfect to not actually have really a supervillain, just use your heroes as, you know, a villains in a sense to each other.
Well, what they did with Zemo in this one was kind of different because Baron Zemo was a guy in a purple outfit with a yellow crown, and he was like I want to say he was a member of Hydra, and I can't remember exactly what his specialty was or what his whole gimmick was, but I just remember he popped in a few issues of Captain America, and he was just one of several villains kind of standing in the room, all trying to orchestrate some big grand plan. In this one, what I think they did, I don't remember the name of the guy, but there was one villain who was basically, and I remember reading this off the Winter Soldier as well as the Captain America Reborn series, where there was this villain. He was like this fat guy with a big, bushy, long beard in a suit, and I think he had a monocle. And he was basically just basically an evil psychiatrist, a hypnotist. He can get into your mind and make you do what he wanted to do. And I think he was the one in the original Civil War who got Sharon to kill Captain America on the footsteps of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's who he was the one that hypnotized her into doing it, I believe. I might be wrong there. His name was Dr. Brashrell. It was some really long name. Now, what I think they did in the movie was they combined Zemo. They took Zemo's name, and then they kind of took the abilities of that guy and gave him to Zemo, because there's a part where Zemo goes in, because basically Bucky's the Manchurian candidate, basically.
Yeah, but I like how they even throw that out there.
Yeah, put the gun down, Manchurian candidate, yeah, like that.
That's like the one it makes all like the older folks in the audience really bust up.
Yeah, and basically just kind of like you say a series of words, and then that kind of like that's his trigger to go into like do what you want me to do, tell me what you want me to do mode, and he finds that he's basically, you see him, he's studying Captain America, he's looking for Bucky, he's trying to get all these plans. It's just this guy, and you find out that Zemo, he used to be like a Sokovian commander and all that. He used to be in the military, so they give some reason as of how he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he's not out for like world domination or anything like the original Zemo probably would have been, which that doesn't bother me because I don't really know a whole lot about Zemo. But I think what they did was, because there's a part when he's interrogating Bucky over at the CIA headquarters, and then he sets off like a little like thing to basically black out everything, then turns him into Manchurian candidate. You find out later that he took the place of a psychiatrist. That psychiatrist is later found dead in the hotel he was staying at.
Yeah.
And that psychiatrist, I want to say that was meant to be the villain I was talking about, Dr. Bronassus, with a long ass name that started with I want to say
with the long name.
I want to say there is a B. It started with a B. There's an R and a couple of O's in there. I don't remember the guy's name, but I want to say they kind of just
flippity-flappity.
Yeah, I want to say they kind of fused those two characters together, which I think, in all honesty, just for the sake of having more characters later on the line, I think they should have just made him not Zemo, made him that guy. And if you'd have to make him fat with a beard if you don't want to, but it's kind of like you don't really care. And he's also played by the guy who played Frederick Zoller, I think, from Inglourious Bastards. The nicest Nazi. The nice Nazi.
The nicest Nazi. Just sounds like a children's book.
He's opening a door leading to Auschwitz. Like, let me get the door for you.
I want to make your stay real nice and comfortable. In Auschwitz, I try to do my part and do it well.
We'll just, it's my job, but, I'm going to be as nice as possible while doing it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that guy, like, I'm like the nice DMV guy, like, I don't want to take your license away, but when they say you have to.
I got it.
I got to pull the switch.
Yeah. Leave the towel. You won't need it.
Speaking of, like, another thing that goes, speaking of World War II, which relates back to Captain America, I love how there was, like, a reference to, like, the 90s Captain America movie in this one, where he's driving around that Volkswagen, because in the 90s Captain America, I used to always think it was a Fiat, but maybe it was a Volkswagen. He's always driving around this little, like, European car. Mm-hmm. And that's when I saw that, I was like, oh, they fucking referenced that Captain America movie? That's so badass.
It was funny, just like these three ripped guys in this tiny little Volkswagen. And then it's usually like one of the rare cases where like where the little humor works. Like you see like Bucky like in the back seat, like Sam in the front. Bucky's like, can you move your seat up? No. Just these three ripped guys, just huge.
In a little car.
In this tiniest car. Even when Cap gets out of it, it just looks so fucking funny.
But yeah, like in that old Captain America movie, that he's driving around in one of those like the whole time. So that's why I thought, I was like, oh, that's a cool callback. I like when you can respect like even things that, even if people don't like them, you can at least respect them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looking forward to like, I think this movie gives me a bit of faith. Because for a while, I mean, it sounds so like cheesy. It gives me faith. But like for a while, people seem to be very much kind of like, you know what? Not that they're bad. I'm just getting really, really tired of them. And it seemed like Batman versus Superman was an example of, okay, this is the start of it.
This is the beginning of the... Well, because that's what I kind of thought. Because going into this movie, I was kind of wondering, I'm like, even though you hear talk about this movie, it felt like the talk was not nearly as like big as it was for movies prior to it. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like, the Marvel was trying to push it on you, but it just didn't feel like it had that same like, almost like Avengers 2 felt like it had a much bigger like pre-release than this. Even though when I get there, there's copious amount of people in the theater, so it's like, okay, so it still was reaching out to everybody. And I do think that this one did kind of start that flame one more time so that you can keep going. Because if this movie was just kind of like same old, I think that would have been kind of like, well, okay, I guess, we'll just kind of see. And I would have probably, in about 2 years or so, I could see sort of a slight decline in superheroes where you start getting back to like maybe one a year. Yeah, not even two a year.
There was a point where it was just like one superhero movie every like 3 years. And then it reached the point where, okay, maybe two every year, and now we're at the point like, oh, you can get out like 5 a year almost. It seems.
Oh yeah, it seems like I'm totally fine with that. I got no problem whatsoever. That's great to me.
Now I will say though, because like even though like Age of Ultron was generally like well received, it's still it was good, just wasn't as good as the first one, is what you heard a lot.
Which is so weird because I think it's so much better than the first one.
Same thing here. I mean, I still really like Avengers 1, but I think 2 is a lot better, much better movie. And I think this one is just so simple, where 2, they're going all over the place. Yeah. And you have even more characters. But I still think 1 is still a really fun movie.
Oh, yeah, not saying against 1, but...
But, like, where this one, I think, it's because I remember when Avengers 2 came out, like, oh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a lukewarm reaction.
Like, it got, like even on, like, Rotten Tomatoes, it were generally received, like, I want to say, like, somewhere like a 75, which is pretty good for Rotten Tomatoes. And then, like, I'm not one of those people who takes Rotten Tomatoes too seriously. That's not my...
Yeah, I feel like consider that just, like, the negative Nancy group of the internet.
That's not me trying to, like... that's not me, like, kind of letting that decide if I'm going to see a movie or not. That's kind of, like, the general consensus, how well this movie's received. And so that most Marvel movies usually receive something in the 70 range. So, okay, that was, like, a 75 or something, so that's good for that movie. But
pretty much Rotten Tomatoes is like the hate monger Nazis of the nowadays.
This movie has like a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I will say, this is one of those movies, if somebody said this was their favorite superhero movie of all time, like, I would go, I'm not going to argue that one. I think that is totally a legitimate choice.
Might be within my, possibly, I got to really think, I got to see it again. This might be within not my top 5 Marvel movies, top 5 superhero movies, possibly. I got to see it again.
Now, here's probably here's the one scene in it that could kind of go mixed ways of, like, not really saying it's really a bad thing, but it reminds me of, like, there was a choice that could have been made here, and they kind of could go with one or two things. Because the one thing you're kind of expecting in Marvel movies, like, when's one, like, the hero's gonna die? I know that we lost Quicksilver in the other one, and, I mean, I don't think he was around enough to kind of, like, care so far. I don't mean that in a bad way, but, like, because I like Quicksilver as a character. And I think it was one of the ones that I don't know if they just killed him off because they're like, well, he's an X-Men, let's not have 2 Quicksilvers, that might confuse people over time.
I think it's a little bit of that. My thing is, like, that Quicksilver, I don't even think he did, like, that bad of a job. He just wasn't there long enough to really care so much. And he was just kind of like...
We got Kicksilver.
Yeah, quick.
Kicksilver.
Did I say Kicksilver?
No, that's what I said, because it's Kick-Ass as
Quicksilver. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I get it.
Kicksilver.
Took me a second. But no,
a little too creative.
He basically... I think that was one of those things where, like, okay, because Joss Whedon kept on saying, hey, guys, don't get too attached. People are going to die.
And that's where
they kept on saying
that. Don't kill Hawkeye. Oh, God, he's got a family. They're going to kill Hawkeye.
They kept on saying that. And that's where I was just like, well, fuck. Because I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, Jeremy Renner is, like, one of the only one of these guys, aside from Robert Downey Jr., who was nominated for an Academy Award. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I think he's above that, but I just think it's one of those things that, like, he's probably the least likely to hang around because he's got some, at the moment, that was, like, right around, like, he was done with Hurt Locker. So he was pretty high profile at the time when he became Hawkeye. So I was just like, fuck, they might off him. He might be too expensive for such, like, kind of a side character. Yeah. Even though I think you can give him his own Netflix show or his own, like, Marvel movie, whatever, because I love that character so much, and he does a great job. So I'm just like, oh, God damn it, just don't off Hawkeye. And that's actually something I liked, because they were totally setting Hawkeye up to die. He's the family man.
Yeah.
You like him, and then who dies? Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But the same thing, it seemed like a little bit of a safe choice in that aspect. I kind of liked how they flipped it.
I'm glad they didn't kill Hawkeye. Like,
because when I saw the little kid, I saw the kid out there, they're like, oh, I need help. And, like, Hawkeye's the one, like, oh, God damn it, no, fuck that kid, let him die. You're Hawkeye, and then the Quicksilver came by, and they're just like, oh, okay, that's cool. No, yeah, you die.
Yeah, that's okay. As long as it's not Hawkeye, I'm totally fine.
Yeah, and like, so it's one of those things. Like, I was a little surprised to see him go, but it's one of those things where, I mean, who knows? He can come back. I'm waiting. I honestly thought for a minute, possibly, just possibly, Captain America was going to die because he died.
Because he died in the book. I knew they probably wouldn't do that because I knew they'd probably go opposite no matter what.
I thought it would be almost be kind of a self-contained thing. Like, he dies here, but then they bring him back for Civil War, for Avengers Part 3 or Part 4.
Yeah, something like. So I assumed that, like, they weren't going to go because sort of like that, like, it would just go opposite, just so you didn't expect it. The one part that I thought somebody, like, was going to die is because when they shot down when Vision accidentally shoots down War Machine, I was like, oh, fuck. Because that was the other character I thought that, like, if they're going to choose somebody to die, it was either going to be Hawkeye or War Machine. Those are the two I felt like the guys that got the short sticks drawn.
I didn't think it was going to be War Machine just because they showed that in the trailer.
Because he...
I don't know if you could really. I mean, I know they spoil a lot of shit. Like, check out Doomsday, ooh, check out Spider-Man. I really wish. I mean, I know Spider-Man was probably a huge selling point for a lot of people.
They just fucking killed Spider-Man. This is this 14-year-old kid just fucking dead on the ground. Like,
what if, like, my thing is, like, I'm guessing because he was fighting him, so
he's like, you didn't see that coming.
I could just imagine, like, 'cause, he's fighting him, so he could probably feel the punches.
Ant-Man just accidentally steps on him, crunch.
Oh fuck. Oh, fuck! Fuck!
I'll kill the little
boy! Colin Farrell as Ant-Man.
Just all of a sudden, Spider-Man just swinging around.
Not even that. Like, there's the part where, like... Because here's the thing. I understand... I heard some people complain about this, and I'm like, well, it makes total sense. I get why I did it. Because there's a part when Captain America and Spider-Man are fighting, and then he kicks and basically knocks out, like, I don't know what you call it, but basically one of the runway because they're finding the airport. He knocks out like the legs to like a runway to a plane, and then it lands on top of Spider-Man, and he has to catch it. Mm-hmm. That whole thing right there, people were complaining about that. Like, how do you know that was going to kill him? Like, well, he was fighting him. He probably felt how strong he was, so he knew he could withstand that. That's my
that's a weird kind of argument because I guess
he's punching and fighting him, so he probably
obviously
feels
he was brought here. It's not like they just brought like some
15-year-old.
Which is so. I will say that's kind of weird. The one thing that's kind of weird though. I mean, it makes sense, but like doesn't make sense all at the same time. Okay, if Tony Stark is all about like registration, all those things like that, you think that like for that group, the last thing that they'd be doing is getting some 14-year-old boy to come fight with them. It's like, okay, we need another person for our team. Well, who's the other candidate? Well, I don't know. There's this 14-year-old boy off in Queens that we can.
I think it's just like they were so desperate, and he's just like, you know what? If we got him on, it's not that he's against crime fighting. He just wants it designated. So if we're doing designated crime fighting, I think this kid can do some good.
It just sounds kind of funny because you think that would be like sort of like an age limit. Like they gotta be 18 and above to join your like fighting force.
I think they're doing like, he still doesn't give a shit. And plus, like, we gotta introduce this character somehow.
Plus, I mean, like there's things it makes sense for mostly all the other stuff. Like okay, he makes him a suit, he makes him all those other things, blah 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 blah. But I will say, that's like it almost feels more that Captain America would bring him on board and not have a problem. I mean, it works for the movie, but it is like that one thing. It's just like, if you're going to go through all this like registration act, you think there'd be all these codes and ways you can do things, and you cannot have child labor.
But that's a good point. But there'd be one thing, we're putting children in war. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Children soldiers.
It's literally like giving them like a little kid like an AK-47.
I'm not going to look too much into it, but yeah, I mean, he would be doing it. I think his viewpoint is he'd be doing it anyway. Might as well give him the right tools and give him some guidance.
Yeah.
But I will say, though...
That's the same thing they say in Africa.
Yeah. A lot of Tony's weapons went there, so same mentality.
Yeah, maybe Tony's just kind of part of that. He's like, here, kid, have an AK. Here, have an atom bomb. Yeah. Pocket-sized.
Web shooters for you. Yeah, no, the part, though, when, like, Cap knocks him down, what if, like, that's where the part where, like, he, like, knocks the thing out, just crushes him, like, oh, fuck! Fuck! I thought he had super... Everybody stops. Like, did you just kill a fucking kid? Did Captain America just kill a fucking kid?
No, he just had web shooters. That was his only thing.
The rest of it's, like, just a court movie. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Like, it's not funny. Like, it's not enjoyable at this point. It's just this very intense court drama of him being on, like... But they're still in costumes, though. They're still in these bright, vibrant, colorful costumes.
No, that'd be pretty funny.
They're complaining they're not in the costumes enough. So while he's up there
he's still
crying to the judge, he still has to be in his red and blues.
Yeah. But I did actually think, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that might be where they kill off War Machine, you know? Because, like, that would be... Not saying, like, it's like, I like War Machine, but, like, it would make the logical choice that, like, if War Machine died in the process, that would make Tony Stark even more angry towards Captain America, even though technically his guy killed.
Yeah.
Technically his own guys can't
Because they're trying to take out Falcon, but Falcon moved.
Yeah.
I will say that I did like that part, even though I think some people chuckled at it. I didn't take it as a funny part, but the part when like Falcon lands down, because it's like they all in that scene, they didn't want to fight. They
didn't want to kill each other. Yeah,
they were all just kind of tussling around. He's just like, I'm gonna shoot this bomb at you, but I know you're gonna dodge it, so it's okay, you know. And it's one of those things where when Falcon lands down right there, it was kind of like he had this look on his face, like, I'm sorry, just shoots him, just like fuck you, you know.
You know, that's how I kind of took it too. It's just more like a fuck you.
Yeah, and I mean. This
like that thing where it's not really his fault, but he's just like he's gonna take his anger out on something.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those scenes right there where, I mean, this whole movie, I mean, it just works really well, and I can't really think of a whole lot to complain about. My only slight complaint is I think they kind of misused Zemo a little bit. I really think that could have just been the psychiatrist guy I was talking about earlier. But
yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot about Zemo other than his outfit. But
yeah, I'll say regardless, I think for just a live action movie, I think it's fine. I mean, yeah, I guess for the Zemo fan out there, they could be probably a little bit angry, but to me, I'm like,
I think like we don't want to have a thin, good-looking guy. We don't want a fat guy in a monocle. So
yeah.
But I think you just could have almost used just call him the same thing, just made him look different. It just because it was like more. It seemed like maybe that's what Zemo does too, but it just seemed like more of that guy's abilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
But whatever, it's nothing I'm gonna like totally dock the movie down for. So I still think that's probably one of the strongest superhero movies made.
No, I think so. It's like all the way up to the end, and they just like the final battle, just of Captain America and Iron Man finally leading to all this, and how he's just like, you can't have fucking Bucky with you. He's like, he's my buddy. He's like, so am I. He's like, yeah, but I don't give a fuck.
I will say, it actually gave like Black Panther a real reason. His thing's
yeah,
like,
'cause
he's
Black
not even
Panther-
like superhero registration. He's like, no, I just want to fucking kill Bucky because he killed my fucking dad.
He's like, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's like, no, he didn't. Just some
It
guy.
was Zemo.
Yeah, just a guy who's like faking it all. But no, I think just everything in the movie worked. It was just totally fun, totally action packed. Like never a dull moment for like a 2-hour and 40-minute long movie. Like
I'll say this: you don't have to love this movie. You don't even. You could just even be like, you know what, it's okay, you know. But I'll say, if you're one of those people like, this movie fucking sucks, like, what the fuck do you want, you know?
exactly. It's like, unless you hate superheroes, I don't know. I can't.
I don't know why I did it. I went on Rotten Tomatoes, just looking down. Most of it's all good reviews. But whenever I saw a negative one, I'd stop and look at it. Leonard Maltin didn't like it, unfortunately.
Well, Leonard Maltin's kind of. It's nice he's old and bitter.
Yeah, I like Leonard Maltin. You know, there's nostalgia to Leonard Maltin. But
really.
but there is that thing like, oh, whatever, you know. But sometimes like, oh wow, he did like that. He liked Cowboy Bebop the movie, awesome. Yeah. But you know, then there'd be like,
he hates Scarface.
Yeah, and Blade Runner. But no, but then like you get to like, there's one guy. And it's just kind of like, you don't have to like the movie, but when you insult the audience, I'm like, oh, fuck you, you cocksucker. There's like one guy's like, just loud, noisy, strictly for an audience with their brains turned off. I'm just like, oh, fuck this bitch. Oh, God. What a snobby, pretentious cocksucker. Oh. Yeah.
Hopefully that guy's getting poisoned right now. I only wish death
say upon... that, just like, and also like, oh man, Orange, top candidate, top suspects for that. Like, we were like, it's like the fucking Catcher in the Rye, like, them old man Orange boys told me to do it. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Well, this is how I kind of feel like. Whenever I see people like that, I'm like, go fucking live in a third world country for an entire year and then come back and tell me what you think about that movie. Literally, that's all I want. Is just go live somewhere that's totally a shitty environment and then come back and then you should be grateful for everything you get. Mm-hmm. You know?
Okay. But yeah, it's one of those things like, I'm not saying just like, hey, you gotta like this. Enjoy whatever the fuck's thrown in front of you. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, if you don't like something,
negative.
If you don't like something, you don't like something, and there's just some things you can't do about that. I hate it when people like attack the fucking audience for it, or just like, I don't get it, so it must be fucking stupid. That just pisses me off.
Well, and I think too, those people that are negative about it, the only reason they're negative is because the movie did good. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. Like, there's a certain mindset out there that if something does well. I mean, well, we're all probably, you know, accountable for that every once in a while. Where there's that thing when something's just really popular, like, you know what, I'm not going to see it. You know why? Because I'm going to be different. You get that little, like, 15-year-old punk rocker voice inside your head every once in a while. That everybody has it, no matter who you are. Everybody's got that kind of shitty 15-year-old punk rocker person voice in there. You mostly just kind of push back in the corner and go, you know, just go sit down with the emo voice and everything else that's in there. Like, we don't need to listen to you. But some people let that voice just explode out and just go like, I'm going to hate everything because you know what? It's the cool thing to do.
I will say I think we all kind of go through that. You are popular today. I will say that there is that point where I feel, God damn it, what the fuck was I going to say? Caffeine is running out right here. I feel like there is that point when you're younger where you almost get brand loyalty. And there's that point where you just really want to see this one thing succeed, but you know in some way it kind of rivals this thing over here. Mm. So you just want to see that thing fucking crush their families on the street. You know, it's
that's called Nintendo and Microsoft.
Yeah. When we were in high school, it was totally kind of
it was like you stay away from that Halo, like.
Then eventually I just got like, well, you know what? This game's kind of cool and that game's kind of cool, then, so I'm just gonna go out and get an Xbox just because this game's kind of. Then eventually you're just like, you know, I just want it because of this game and that. And then eventually you stop caring.
Then you kind of grow up and you go, you know what? Fucking Halo's badass and Mario's badass. What did I ever complain about? Like, I should just have them all.
And I think
how do you make yourself happy? Gotta catch them all. They've been telling me this for 20 years. Why did I not listen?
And there's even that point. I think now you know, that's always kind of been there, but I think more with the internet now and YouTube comment sections. I think those Marvel fans just don't get it, or DC fans just don't get it. And I think that's just, it gets irritating sometimes when you just have that whole, like, I want to see this thing fail just so I know my thing did better. And I don't think I really have that so much. You know what, actually, I do see that a lot in? I guess it kind of comes, you might want to put this in the
turn that fucking off, because...
Is that a text or is that a phone call?
It's a phone call. Fucking turn off. Keep going.
It ain't Laura, is it?
No, that's why I keep checking.
Okay. Hey, Laura, I don't give a fuck. No, but anyway, what was I gonna say? Shit. No, I was gonna say. I guess the one thing that kind of goes hand in hand with it is sports, because that's. Don't take this as me saying like you don't gotta hate or like everything I like, but fuck sports. I'm not being that guy, but I think it's almost like that's one of the few things because you like. I want to see this one team rot and fucking burn, you know?
And well, to me, I never got that mentality because I'm like one of those people. I love telling people like, you know, if somebody just asks what your favorite like baseball teams are, I would just go, you know, I guess Giants and A's because they're right next door to me. If I was gonna go see one, and people go, well, you gotta pick one of those two. I'm like, what the fuck is the difference? They're both California. They're both fucking Northern California. To me, it's like, and if anything, if I'm gonna pick one, I'm gonna pick A's just because they're kind of the underdogs.
What do I don't fucking get? I don't fucking get when I see someone.
Hell, I'll say I even like the Dodgers. It's still California. What's the difference?
I don't get when I see someone kind of coming at like, you know what? I love like, you know, San Francisco Giants. I love the San Francisco Giants. That's my team. I fucking love the Giants. I'm like, what the Niners? Fuck the Niners! All about the Raiders! I'm just like, oh, okay?
You see that a lot, too, in Northern
California.
I
don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it. It's just like, I mean, maybe it's just because I don't know the history tied between the teams and trades and coaches or anything like that, but I really don't understand that whole, like, oh, I love the
San
Niners.
Francisco team. I hate this one.
Yeah, I love this San Francisco team, but hate the other San Francisco team. Or Oakland, or vice versa, you know? I really don't fucking get that.
I just don't get that, like, weird rivalry when they're, like, right next to each other. I just don't... that's one of those ones, like... I think living in California and always seeing that Oakland versus San Francisco mindset, I've never been able to get. Never. It just does not make any sense to me. Like, why can't you like both the Raiders and the 49ers? Why can't you like both the A's and the Giants? Why can't you like the Warriors and the Kings? Like,
I'm not sure if it's just kind of like the San Francisco Niners versus San Francisco, the 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys.
That makes sense a little bit more.
I get that because that is like two polar opposite political views.
That's literally like the Union versus the Confederates almost.
Settling it on the field. I kind of get that. It's when it's
basically Giants versus Yankees or something like that.
Yeah, I totally, or even like, you know, like Oakland versus Yankees. You know, it's something like totally the littlest East like
versus
underdog.
West, you know.
I kind of get that, you know, like, you know, right wing versus left wing. I understand that mentality, but it's when it's strictly like they're on the other side of the bridge. Fuck them! This is our side of the bridge. I don't get that shit.
That weird bridge mentality. It's so weird. It's something I've never been able to figure. I think it's just one of those ones like, to me, I feel like, you know, you should almost have to grow past that. I think that fan mentality is not a good one. And they use it like a lot, like even in businesses and things like that. They create teams and all these things like that. That, to me, generates animosity, and it does not make people feel equal. I think there's I really am kind of totally an anti sort of fan, and like, when it gets to like an angry point where it's like, once you become a fan and this team thing, and then you start feuding between the others and you start competing, sometimes that right there, I do not think that's very productive. I think that's actually still kind of a primal nature.
It's like, Team Cap.
Well, that's just because I don't like Iron Man. I'm just going to break it down. Well, I'm not going to say I hate Iron Man, but I'm just not...
You're not as much of an Iron Man fan as you are Captain America.
It's like, it's not even a fucking question to me.
What? That's fucking different, let me tell you.
That's just more because Tony Stark just kind of annoys me. Like, there's a difference there, but it's not like it's based on, like... You know, I mean, it's not like I'm not going to see a movie that has Captain or Iron Man in it. I'm not going to see a movie... You know, so, you know, I'm not going to see a movie that's got fucking Black Widow in it, I'll tell you that. But, I mean, that's more like different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that weird team, like, you know, like, put on your fucking team cap thing. It's like, kind of like when people, like, with Batman vs. Superman, everybody's like, you know, I went in there, I had both a Batman shirt on and a Superman hat. Like, why? Because I like both these guys.
You know, then I can understand kind of like the joke or kind of the, like, you know, you got a favorite. Like, I remember, like, early screenings, they were giving out free, like, in some places, they're giving out free shirts. They give you a Batman shirt or a Superman shirt, so you saw audiences split down the middle, and I don't think I think
like
that was...
a Cyborg shirt? Fuck off.
In the middle, you're just kind of in the far corner. Just looking sad, looking down, like, he'll get a movie one day. But, which I would like to see a Cyborg
That'd be
movie.
sweet.
But, Victor deserves one by this point, I think. But, I don't think that's really that big of a deal, because I could think that's just out of fun. Unless there's that one fan like, well, technically Batman could beat him because, well, technically Superman can beat him, which I think we've all had those debates. When they get that heated and that angry, it's just like, oh, this is what's the fucking point.
I remember, like, when I was in the theater, somebody walked in and was like, where the fuck's the Batman fan sitting? I was just like...
Right fucking here, you're in the Nightwing shirt.
Yeah, I was just, like, everywhere. Like, but I was also wearing my Superman cap, because I was like, you know what? Fuck you.
I want them both to do good.
So, yeah, I don't know.
They're going to get along by the end of the movie, which they kind of did before one of them died, maybe.
You know, they're on a team in the long run, but still.
But don't take this as me just being kind of like, oh, the sports is always fighting with each other. Don't take it as that. Yeah, I understand, you know, rivalry.
Oh, those sportses. What they'll learn one of these days, just like we had to learn with the Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation thing. It's just maybe when they finally grow up.
Don't take it as that. It's literally kind of like, it goes to anything. I just use that as an example. I don't understand that angry, kind of like bitter rivalry.
Where you treat it like it's like life or death. I think that's the thing, is if it's kind of fun where you're like, oh, you know, your team, you know, your A's team lost, blah, 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 like it's kind of like fun, but when it gets to the point where they're like, they're all fighting and fucking killing each other in the parking lot because their team's lost, it's like, that's where it's just like, are you kidding? God, fucking sports is stupid.
Or you see guys like on ESPN in suits talking about like, what's this, how good did this millionaire do on this game? I don't agree, I think this millionaire did. No, like, I don't know, it's just like one of those things, like I'm not even trying to shit on like, fandom, because I get that. When people just take it so seriously, you know?
I think that's it. I think when there's a certain level, when it gets too serious and it goes beyond fun, I think that's when it's dumb. Yeah. Because it's not war, it's just a game.
Just a civil war.
Yeah, well, for that one it is. Yeah. For that, that's a war right there, but I'm talking about the sports game. It's not the,
yeah.
The sportsies. Get my sportsies on.
One day I have to get enough alcohol in me, and like I know this is kind of a shitty thing to do. I'm not trying.
What? To like show up to like a sports bar? You know what I think of all you people?
Or just go in like, is this where they play the sports is? You know, in like some kind of Hot Wings place.
Yeah, with like a fucking pink tutu on, just walking in there like, hey, sports is wee.
I'm voting for Bernie. Oh, he's fucking dead now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of another movie...
That's just the sports bar in this town. I'm sorry, go ahead. Another movie.
Speaking of another movie that I just actually recently saw that came out in theaters, but came in so many, like, few theaters that you couldn't really see it anywhere, but I saw it came out on Blu Ray. I was like, oh, fuck, well, this is a movie I want to see anyways. So I still think it's a legitimate one to talk about, just for the fact that it's kind of a hidden film when it came out. As I saw that Jane Got a Gun movie.
How was that? Portman.
It's actually pretty cool. You know, I will say, it's a movie that's maybe not like, it's not like full on like, oh my god, you gotta go rush out and see it, but it still was kind of cool, and it was just, it was almost like really simple, because pretty much like the simple of that movie is, it's just like, she's like kind of this mother, she's at this house, all of a sudden her husband comes back, and he's on a horse, and he's all wounded and stuff, and shot up, so she brings him in, and then she goes out to get help from pretty much her ex-husband, to come back and defend their ranch, because there's these gangsters that are going to come up and try to, you know, kill whatever the guy's name was, Bill, her new husband. And that's pretty much it. It's like, that's like the whole movie there. But then they tell it with these like flashbacks that kind of go back, and it shows like, well, here's her original husband, and he went off to the Civil War. And then somehow, some way, like before he came back, she kind of like went across the, you know, to the West. And then she ended up meeting this other guy who ends up saving her from an incident, and that's how they sort of get tied together. So it all starts making sense as it pieces this with these flashbacks here. And then through that, there's a little bit of action moments in there. There's not like a whole lot. Like, you know, there's one part where somebody gets shot. It's kind of quick and all that. But then as it starts building up to the end, you start getting more and more action in this movie. Yeah, I guess you could say almost like a classic action style movie. And there's even parts where, you know, one of the guys is coming in, you know, fucking double guns, blasting up a saloon and everything like that. And then even at the end, they fucking set it up all like Home Alone style. So it's these two fucking or technically three, I guess, but one guy's totally injured, defending this property, and they put up all these like bombs outside and kind of grenades and set up all this fire traps and things. So when this huge army comes in, who's fucking led by Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Ian McGregor.
So pretty much Obi-Wan Kenobi's trying to kill Padme, or not really trying to do it, like almost coming after Padme. And then so they come here, and then you get this kind of sweet kind of shootout / action moment there. And it was just kind of a fun, simple Western movie. I mean, maybe not like one of those ones where it's like it's a legendary movie or anything like that, but I thought it was cool for the fact that, you know, I mean, you don't get Western movies very often, so you almost got to be kind of grateful for what you do get. But I thought it was kind of a neat one.
Is it end on the note of like this is the beginning of Calamity Jane? Like
No, it's actually not that. It's some different Jane.
Oh, so it's not Calamity Jane?
No, I thought that's kind of sort of what it was when I first saw the trailer. Because it didn't really explain any stuff there. No, it's just some other... It's like,
you
her
see
name's
Western,
Jane Hammond. Yeah.
You see
Western and Jane. What else is it going to be?
Yeah, okay. Well, still, that sounds pretty cool.
But no, I would say it's still worth checking out for a fact that it kind of is one of these hidden movies. It'll probably be one of those ones that appears on Netflix soon. But I look at it this way. I was like, you know, if I would have saw it in theaters, I would have ended up buying 2 tickets and would have spent the same price it cost for Blu Ray. Like, whatever. It's the same way. And also, it was good. It was, like, worth watching again. It's like, I'm glad I got it and glad I saw it.
I'll try and check that one out soon.
But yeah, you I know for a fact you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I probably would. I'm, like, a sucker for, like, Westerns.
Yeah, Westerns, it's just like... And it's just kind of cool just to see, you know, you don't really a lot of times get a woman being, like, kind of like the main action star in a Western, too.
And sometimes when they do, it's not always a bad movie, but sometimes it's a little bit over the... Oh, it's like, it's a woman, where just like...
It's almost like exploitive.
Yeah, where I think this one looks very much more like, oh no, it's just a regular Western, it just happens to be a lady, and she's a badass.
Exactly, that's pretty much what it is.
Which I think that's the better way to go about it, you know, when you want to do... Because I think sometimes the movies like, it's an action movie starring a woman, like, I can fucking see that, let's just let her be a badass, and we'll just...
Well, you get almost like... You can almost say it's like the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
In a sense, Tomb Raider is almost like it's really an expletive in a sense for the fact that like you got just like here she is, she's got big tits and double guns and running around. I'm somebody who says like, you know, I actually enjoy the Tomb Raider movie, but you know it really is sold on like, hey, you 15-year-old boys, come on in here, come on in, come on the floor, and that's almost how it is, you know. Where this movie's sold as like a strong female character who can kick ass, but it's not like over the top, or it's not almost like in a sense like the Resident Evil movies. Or a lot of those 2000s where they like you know, women characters are strong, but like let's put them like way over the top.
It's even kind of, I mean, I don't know. In some ways, I feel like you can.
I'm not really saying that's a bad thing though, too. At the same time, that's fine for.
I feel like sometimes I honestly can't pinpoint it because I know it when I see it, but I feel like sometimes exploitation can be fine. Other times, exploitation just seems kind of like
you're doing it to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's an example. I don't know. I really liked Planet Terror. I think because the movie was so absurd and so over the top that it couldn't help but be kind of funny about it. Mm-hmm. And on top of it, though, the character Rose McGowan plays, Cherry, even though she's being kind of led by the Eddie Rodriguez character, she still has a lot of personality to her, and she actually becomes a really strong character by the end of the movie. So I think that's a situation. And plus, there's already so many other characters in that movie; it's enjoyable. So that's a movie where I think that kind of works. Sometimes I think the whole like exploitation seems kind of like cheap and shallow when it's a movie that's not really meant to be exploitive, but they have some exploitive scenes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. It's hard to narrow it down when it's okay, when it's not okay, and it's just subjective, so it doesn't really matter on that aspect. But I feel like I know it when I see it, and I feel like a version that like here's an example. I still liked the movie. It didn't kill it for me, but this was still something that stood out. Like, there's a part in the new, the last Star Trek movie when there's the one chick, she's just kind of there. She's just kind of the pretty girl with a British accent. She's changing, then Kirk turns around. She's in her underwear for no reason. Like, oh, okay, and turns around. Like, that really even need to be. That was just a scene thrown in the trailer to get people to go see the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not a scene to kill the movie, but that's an example where I think it seems kind of cheap and it didn't really... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I think that the difference is if you can still have heart with it and still work well, or are you just doing this just to almost like the sell?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even like when you do it with tongue in cheek, it is kind of still in some way to sell, and that's what something like Planet Terror is, or like something like Hobo with a Shotgun is.
Well, I feel all the grindhouse oriented movies of like Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, that style, which includes Hobo with a Shotgun and all that stuff. Those, to me, they remind me of, like, grand homages to an old time that's almost kind of forgotten at the moment. That's what I think makes those ones kind of different. Mm-hmm. Like, they're kind of like... Because you could say that, like, both Planet Terror and Death Proof was like, hey, remember how cool the 70s were? That's almost like what that's doing. And Hobo for Shotgun's like, hey, remember how cool the 80s were and early 90s? Mm-hmm. Like, so I think those ones work in that way, where you get some of these other movies that almost, like... They try it, but they almost don't get, like... They're doing it because, like, they're almost like, remember how cool that, you know, Robert Rodriguez movie was? And it's like, well, that's, you know, the wrong way to look at it, I guess. Even though, I don't know, it's a weird one, but you can, there's just a different feel. Like, you almost feel like the heart's not there.
It's almost kind of, it's also subjective, like what reaches out to you. But it is definitely one of those things, it is hard to narrow down which one is which, but I feel like you know it when you see it.
Yeah, where something like that, Jane's Got a Gun is just like, it's nice because
doesn't sound like it's exploitive. It just happens to be.
It just happens to be a woman,
a strong female character who just is in like. Just a strong female character. That's all you need. And it doesn't have to rub it in your face about it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Who can kick ass and take games. And, you know, that movie works well for being just... I think just it's cool that it's such a simple plot. I mean, like, it really... it's one of those movies where you kind of watch and you almost go, like... You could practically shoot that at your own house if you owned, like, an old-fashioned, old-timey cabin or something like that. You know, it wouldn't be that hard to do. And... You know, it's just got its nice little twists and turns in it. So there's some things that happen. You go, oh, fuck, look at that. Or, like, this starts adding up. You know, it's cool things that it's... Yeah, it's a great way to do it where, you know, a lot of times those female leads, I think for a while it's almost like people didn't get how the female leads sort of worked. And I'm not complaining at some of those movies, I think they work fine. It's like you almost say Underworld sort of maybe like over the top, but for that world it works. It's neat though when you can just have these more like realistic characters.
Underworld, I mean, the movie doesn't really jump. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I liked it because it was like, it's like kind of like another Matrix, but with vampires. And that was kind of like, and Kate Beckinsale's really hot, you know, and that's kind of like the way... And now I look back on the movie like, oh yeah, it was very of its time, and you know, it was enjoyable. I remember seeing the first three, and then that's like, oh, I like this franchise. And then like when the fourth one came out, it wasn't even like, fuck that movie. It was just kind of like,
oh, there's another one of those.
I don't really care. It wasn't like, I did not have any negative or bitter feelings to it. I have the first three movies. By the time the fourth one came out, I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Well, I watched the fourth one too, and it's like one of those movies. I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that movie. It's like it just didn't stick with me. It was just one of those ones like
I imagine.
It wasn't like I watch it and like this sucks. It was just kind of watch it. It was just kind of like, oh, more of this.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like it was just kind of like felt like, you know. And they're making a fifth one's coming out. I think either this year or next year or something like that. And it's just kind of
Kate Beckinsale still in it.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale still in it. I mean, I guess that's her franchise. Yeah. Everybody's franchising this day and age. It's like you got to keep those things going.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? This might be the thing where...
You maybe have a good comeback with one of those.
I feel like that could be, I'm not saying it will be, I feel like it could be kind of like a Fast and the Furious. Right where Fast and the Furious was starting to die off. Like Tokyo, like number 2 came out and it was kind of disappointing to some people. Number three is like, okay, it's kind of a spin-off, whatever. And then the fourth one came out like, oh, it's the old... That was actually surprisingly better than I thought it was. And the fifth one came out
and they just kind of kept getting better and better and better.
As they went on, they just, you know, they kind of got this big franchise going now. Because it's weird, because you think about the first one, like people like the first one, but now it's just like these things make so much fucking money.
Well, yeah, because that first one kind of came out, and that could have been a one-and-done movie almost. And then, you know, the second one came out and it was there for, like, the super fans of cars and everything like that. And then after that, you know, it just kind of, you know, like, Fast and Furious 3 was almost like the ultimate fan movie. It was like, they kind of went, like, you have to be even more extreme the farther these movies go. And to the regular, it's like, well, that franchise was probably seen and done with. And then...
I'm just surprised how much continuity that thing has. Like, what are we doing? Racing some fucking cars. Yeah. But this movie takes place after this one, but before the third one, but after 1 and 2. But you need to see these two after, so that way it's more of a shock, you know?
That's why I like Tokyo Drift takes place 10 years in the future. So you're watching a sci-fi movie.
When you put it in that perspective, it is. Because I was like, when number 4 opened up, oh, there's the guy from the third one, cool. And then you come out with the 5th one. Oh, the guy, he's there. I guess this takes place before that. Okay, the 6th one. Oh my god, they're still doing it. Then all of a sudden they get this, okay, now it's present day. And I just thought the guy from the third one was going to be part of the team. Just like, yeah, thanks a lot, kid. I know you're like 35 now, but... that was the thing. He was like a high school kid in the third one, and then he's just like, yeah, you know, I got moved on to town Tokyo. Like, yeah, I don't really give a shit. Thanks a lot. Bye. Boom. You know.
Just like just sits by the phone waiting for them to call him. Like, they're making another one. They gotta use me here. They brought everybody else back. They're gonna call me. I just remember even Tyrese Gibson, the guy who's kind of annoying black guy. They got him back in there. They're gonna call me.
I really like Tyrese Gibson in those movies.
I think overall, because at first he kind of was just kind of like, he was almost kind of like a Chris Tucker, I guess, where like, that can always go kind of halfway, because you know, Chris Tucker would be funny, but there's every once in a while there's a couple of those movies where it's like, okay, maybe he's just getting a little bit obnoxious, and I always feel like Kevin Hart's kind of like the even more obnoxious version of Chris Tucker. Mm-hmm. So there gets to a point where sometimes those guys, like the black funny guy, can almost go too far, where like, almost you're like, why are you bringing this guy along? It's just like they're almost like a bad stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not really saying. It's like, I don't know, like the Chris Tucker stereotype.
Well, I think Chris Tucker works fine in Rush Hour 1.
Well, yeah, I think that works great there.
Little more in Rush Hour 2, a little too over the top. Rush Hour 3, it's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, even though like I like all three of those movies, you know, they stair step down in quality, or not quality, but just like, you know, it kind of gets old after a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of how Tyrese Gibson sort of felt like. You know, you didn't know, and then after a while, it's like, you know, he's a real good character. Like he almost kind of, I think he grew as the movies went on. It kind of worked out well.
And he was like, well, everybody else was, because the thing about those movies is they almost become somewhat self-aware as they go on, and I think that like Tyrese Gibson is the one guy who's kind of like acknowledging the self-awareness, where everybody else is still playing like deadpan, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of what he is, sort of like.
You think that small joke is like, oh my god, we got like a bizarro world situation here. Look at this guy, you know? He's pointing like, your counterpart's a chick, you know? He's going down the list.
He's just having fun with it. No,
because I was thinking that right as he was saying it.
Yeah, just like, you know, yeah, he's kind of almost there to be the audience member, and I think that works out fine. But I don't know how we all got from fucking some kind of artsy like western to like Fast and the Furious and all that good stuff. But,
Jane's Got a Gun could be like Jane Still Has a Gun could be the sequel.
It could be
Natalie Portman's franchise.
It could. It leaves off where it could just continue on.
What I was gonna say about Fast and the Furious, I think, because I could see possibly maybe Underworld's gonna do that thing where it like comes out like, okay, the first one people liked, then people were kind of lukewarm or didn't care about the second and third. Fourth one people kind of forgot about. Maybe this is the one though where suddenly they do something different, or they just get it just right. Okay, this is what we do now.
And then they continue it on.
And then it just suddenly makes, this is a huge franchise. What the fuck? Oh, okay, you know. I mean, maybe those movies always made a lot of money.
Well, I think they always made quite a bit of money, but just, there's kind of like, you can make quite a bit of money and still be a movie that kind of gets sort of forgotten. A perfect example, I always feel it's like a movie that made a copious amount of money, but it's kind of like a forgotten movie, is the Pirates of the Caribbean 4. You know, that movie made like $1 billion+, but it just kind of felt like that movie, like, if you ask people, it's like, oh yeah, there was a fourth one. Like, I don't know why, it just kind of disappeared.
It made
so much money.
The sad thing about the fourth one is it's probably the second best movie.
Yeah, it easily is. But it is kind of just, it's almost like I feel like people remember the third one more than they remember the fourth one.
Well, I remember because the first one is like a damn near perfect adventure movie. Second one is enjoyable, but it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, so it's like, okay, the third one's going to wrap this shit up, it's going to be awesome. Third one's kind of pretty flawed and kind of lingers and too much exposition. And the fourth one is basically, even though it still sort of leads with more characters and kind of they got to find a way to get the Pearl back to a regular size, it ends on this note of kind of like, all right, well, that was a self-contained story, and that was fun. And I think that almost makes the fourth one a better movie, but it just seems so kind of weird that it's just like, now it's just they're still doing they're doing a fifth one.
Yeah, they're doing a fifth. Well, because it was totally successful, but it's just one of those ones you ask somebody about it, like it takes them a moment to go, oh yeah.
I think maybe what took it so long is because they ended Jerry Bruckheimer's partnership with Disney.
Maybe.
I think that's what's taking it so long to get out, and plus like after Lone Ranger, like get the fuck out of here.
But yeah, who knows? But,
that was Mickey.
Yeah, fucking Mickey. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Take your shit with you! Fucking throwing like a computer at him. Like, get out! I don't even want to see your.
Take your fucking dead crow hat!
You go make your fucking Top Gun 2, because that's a fucking shitty ass movie, and fuck Tom Cruise.
He's like, and take your fucking hamsters! Your fucking military hamster! He like Jerry Bruckheimer, like he was like, the guinea pig movie.
Yeah,
we're like
there's a video game on and everything too.
I didn't play it, but I didn't see the movie, but like that was like Jerry Bruckheimer produced, like, you know, like badass guinea pigs.
I don't know what it was pretty much like F-Zero meets guinea pigs. That's how it kind of looked to me. I don't know if it was called like G-Force or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
And that's probably a place to leave off on.
Yeah.
G-Force. But
didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. You can send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Got a Patreon page out there. We also got our Amazon links if you want to help support the podcast. I'll put something like Jane's Got a Gun in the description if you want to check that out. Just click through there. It won't cost you anything extra, but we'll send us a little something our way. If you don't want to do that, but you want to still support the podcast without paying anything, you can go to iTunes and rate and review us on there. That always helps out a bunch. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.